starting at the top of our mat in a standing mountain pose. So coming towards the top of your mat, put your feet about hip distance apart and take a look down, make sure that they are parallel. Sometimes one hip is used to letting one foot turn out a little bit wider than the other or not, as long as that's comfortable for you. And then once you've found that position, let your hands just rest down alongside your hips. And if you feel balanced, go ahead and close your eyes. If you feel a little unstable, then absolutely keep your eyes open. So from here, we're just going to, as usual, pause, check in, see how you're feeling. What is the breath like? How is the body feeling? Are you feeling tense here? Are the shoulders rising up? Is the jaw tense? Maybe you're shifting around a little bit, especially in a standing pose. If your eyes are closed, you can really get a sense of the body's always kind of shifting and moving. Sometimes just little movements, sometimes a little bit bigger. And then starting with our feet, I want you to really press those feet down into the mat. So activate the muscles of your feet, activate the muscles of your ankles, your lower legs as you do this. If you have the ability to spread your toes a little wider, go ahead and do so, but don't worry about it if your feet, maybe you're used to wearing shoes all of the time and they don't feel the most comfortable here. And from here, press not just the base of your foot, not just the heel into the mat, but the pad of the foot. So right before the toes begin, and then press the bottoms of the toes, grip those toes down slightly into the mat. From there, I want you to bring your awareness up into your knee. So slight, minuscule bend in the knees. As always, anytime we have straight legs, there's always a little bit of a bend in the knees, no locked out kneecaps. And then from here, I want you to come up into your pelvis. So awareness into your pelvis. Notice the curvature in your low back. Some have a bigger curve than others. I want you to very slightly tuck that tailbone under. So feel your hip points kind of roll back up a little higher towards your lowest rib and not a pushing forward of your hips. And then from there, that elongates the low back and supports it a little bit more. And then start to feel yourself get a little bit taller here. Let the crown of your head extend up towards the sky or the ceiling, as tall as you can get, but let the shoulders relax down. Start to activate the muscles of your hands, spread the fingers wide, maybe rotate the thumbs back towards the side, so pinkies in towards the hips, or maybe even rotate pinkies forward and thumbs back. Opening up a little bit through the chest there. On your next inhale, we'll extend, reach up through those fingertips, get even taller. Feel how that extends the spine a little bit. And as you exhale, nice bend in the knees and come into your first forward fold. We're going to ease into this. So put as much bend in the knees as you need. As you inhale, we'll float up, come half high, maybe hands to the fronts of the shins. Exhale, folding it back forward. Inhale, stand, sweep the arms out, reach it all the way up to the ceiling or the sky. Exhale, back to that forward fold, hinging at the hips again, as much bend as it takes to make sure your back feels good, your hamstrings feel good. Inhale, come half high. Exhale, folding it back down. Good. Inhale, sweep and reach it all the way up. Exhale, back to that forward fold. We're going to go through this just 2 more times. As you inhale, come half high. Exhale, folding it back forward. Inhale, sweep, reach, extend, create a little more space with that inhale. Exhale, folding it back forward. Inhale, come half high. As you exhale, maybe folding down just a little bit deeper. And then on your next inhale, stand and reach it all the way up, this time moving into our chair pose. So you can keep arms extending up if your back feels very supported. Otherwise, bring the hands to a prayer position in front of the chest. On the exhale, we're going to start sitting back into that chair. So feet stay as they are. We take a nice bend into the knees. And maybe your chair is a bar stool. Maybe it's just a little bit of a seat back, or maybe it's a very deep seat back. Pressing those hips back. Keep that tailbone tucked slightly so you're protecting and supporting that low back here. Making sure knees aren't coming out beyond the toes. They might be in line with the toes, but try not to let them go beyond the toes. If you're finding that you look down and knees, you can't even see your toes, then maybe come up just a little bit higher. On your next inhale, extend it all the way back up. Reach it up. Exhale, let hands come back alongside the hips. This time we're going to move into airplane pose. So we're going to start in a standing airplane and then maybe move on from there. So for airplane, we're rotating those thumbs in towards the hips, pinkies out towards the sides, and start to press the palms back beyond the level of your hips. So back towards your glutes slightly, towards the back of the mat, and let your shoulders start to squeeze back. So open up through the front of your chest. Maybe start to squeeze the shoulders in a little bit closer behind the back. So feel your shoulder blades start to squeeze in towards the spine. Lots of strength here. If this is already a lot for you, stay where you're at. Otherwise, we're going to add gravity. We're going to put a bit of bend in the knees. We're going to fold halfway forward, so paralleling yourself to the mat. So taking a gaze out at the top or maybe beyond the top of your mat. And now we're fighting against gravity here. So pressing those palms slightly up towards the ceiling or sky, shoulder blades up and back towards the tailbone, away from those ears. A lot of tension. One more deep breath in. Exhale, fold it into that forward fold. So if you're standing, go ahead and come into forward fold as well. Letting those arms maybe hang towards the mat, or maybe they come onto a block. And then maybe take a moment to shift that around, sway that around. Maybe need to shrug the shoulders up and down to let go of that tension fully that may be lingering still in the upper back. Then on your next inhale, we'll sweep the arms back up towards the sky, stand it all the way back up. Exhale, let the hands come together, prayer position in front of the chest. And this time we're going to step the left foot back, coming into warrior one on that right side. You can keep hands at the chest, or you can extend those arms straight up from the shoulders. Reaching through those fingertips, spread the fingertips wide. The back foot is spinning and pressing all the way down into the mat in a warrior pose. So instead of a lunge where the heel lifts, we're pressing that heel down. If you feel very stable, heels may be in one straight line down your mat. If you feel a little unstable, step that left foot out to the side a little bit further. From here, we're going to ease into those hips. So on the inhales, we're going to actually straighten out that right leg just to our micro bend. And then as you exhale, bend back into that front right knee. Maybe start to feel the stretch in the front of that left hip. Continue to flow here with your breath. So inhale, extend that leg. Exhale, bending at the knee. Maybe one more time. And then this time we're going to open it out into warrior two. So spin those back left toes open out to the side. Extend your arms straight out over those legs. So right fingertips extending forward, left fingertips extending back. Sinking those hips maybe a little bit deeper, and make sure that right knee is not coming in towards the left side of the mat. It's staying open out in line with the big right toe. On your next inhale, we'll extend the right arm up towards the sky or ceiling, extended warrior, reaching it up. Left fingertips maybe down the back of that left leg. Deep breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to come into our side angle. We're going to bend the right elbow, bring it down on top of that front bent right leg. Now left arm straight up towards the sky, keeping that bend in that front right knee. If it's within your range, if you can just extend the right arm straight down, maybe find fingertips on the mat to the inside of that right foot, or maybe you want to go ahead and place hand onto a block, you sure can. And then on your next inhale, we'll spin back up through warrior two. We're going to bring those hands back into the chest. Keeping weight shifted onto the right foot mostly, we're going to see if we can gently propel ourselves up, keeping the balance on just the right leg. If not, just go ahead and step the left foot forward. And then we're going to turn that into our tree pose. So we're going to keep left foot lifted, spin the knee out to the side, bending that left knee. Hands can be at prayer position at the chest to start. And then maybe the left foot comes to press to the inside of that left calf below the knee. Or maybe it comes up to the inner thigh, high above that knee. You can use the left hand to position that foot. Otherwise, if you're working with your balance, maybe the toes rest down to the mat and heel just rests against the inside of that right ankle. If you want to extend up through the arms, grow your tree branches up towards the sky, or maybe your weeping willow, maybe arms come down, reaching sort of down towards the outside of the hips. Find a focal point in front of you, a spot that's not moving. We focus our gaze, our drishti, and then we'll slowly bring that left foot down. If you need to shake out the foot or the ankle, stretch it out, feel free to. When you're ready, hands back to prayer position at the center of the chest, and we'll step right foot back, finding that warrior one on the left side. So bending into that front left knee, extend up then through those arms, deep breath in, going to now straighten the left knee. Exhale, bend back into that knee, arms still reaching up towards the sky. And we'll continue to flow a few times here with your own rhythm of breath. Inhales, we get a little bit taller, straightening through that left knee to the micro bend. Exhales, bending back into that knee. Keeping weight evenly distributed over the left and the right feet. And then from here, we're going to turn that into warrior two. So we'll let the toes rotate out to the right side, reach those arms straight out over the legs. Pausing here to breathe. Make sure, again, that left knee now is in line with the big front left toe, so it's not angling in towards the center of the mat. Reach actively through those fingertips. Strengthen the arms. Next inhale, sweep that left arm up towards the sky or ceiling. Right arm maybe just down the back of that right leg. Good. One more deep breath in. Really reach up through those left fingertips. And then turning that into side angle, we'll start with a bend in that front left elbow. Maybe right arm just extends up from the right shoulder. You can absolutely stay here. Or if you can straighten that left arm to the inside of the left knee. Maybe your fingertips find the mat. Maybe they find a block. Right hand still reaching up towards the sky. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and sweep and reach it back up through warrior two. Exhale, connect those hands back into the center of the chest. And then from there, maybe we go ahead and step or walk that up for that tree pose on the left side. So again, maybe right foot comes below the knee to the inside of that calf. Maybe high above the knee to the inside of that thigh. Or maybe toes resting to the mat, heel against the inside of that left ankle. The right knee is bent and opening out to the side. So big opener in that hip. Maybe hands remain at prayer position at the center of the chest, or maybe they extend up into tree branches, or again, maybe down into weeping willow branches. Find your focal point. If you feel stable, foot and leg are pressing firmly into each other. And then we'll slowly release that left foot down to the mat. Bring those hands back to prayer position. Feel free to shake out, stretch out that foot or ankle. Next inhale, we'll stand and reach it back up to tall mountain. Exhale, folding it into forward fold. This time we'll place the hands down, shoulder distance apart, spread the fingers wide. We're going to step or walk down the mat into our first downward facing dog. Because this is our first downward facing dog, take a few moments maybe to pedal out those feet, stretch out those lower legs, maybe shift that side to side. We should be making an inverted V, so if you feel like there's a lot of weight coming up into your hands, your wrists, press into those palms, into those fingers to send your hips further down the mat, towards the back of your mat. One more deep breath here, maybe working those heels a little closer, pressing them a little more firmly into the mat. And then we'll go ahead and release the knees to the mat and come to tabletop. So slide or walk those hands underneath the shoulders. From there, we're just going to do a few cat-cow poses. So on the inhale, dip your navel, your lower ribs down towards the mat. As you exhale, press into those hands, those knees, rounding out through the spine. So inhales, feel that stretch to the front side of the torso. Exhales, feel the stretch through the back side of the torso. Let's do that flow just 2 more times, flowing with your own rhythm of breath. Maybe one more flow there. Maybe creating a little more space to breathe. Maybe exhaling just a little bit more air out of those lungs. From there, we're going to go ahead and release that back to child's pose for a moment. So let those hips come back to or towards the heels. Maybe forehead rests down to the mat with arms extending out. Or maybe we bring those stacked fists underneath the forehead. Pause, resting and breathing here for a moment. And then as you inhale, we're going to come back up to tabletop. So again, shift or walk those hands back underneath the shoulders. We're going to come into thread the needle. So if this bothers your neck or your shoulder, you're just going to come right back up. We'll do a modification. But if you feel good, we're going to pick up the right hand. Inhale first, sweep it all the way up. Big twist, opening up towards the sky or ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to dip that down across the body. Release that right shoulder, that right side of your head down to the mat. So if they don't quite make it to the mat, or again, if there's any pain or discomfort, you will instead come up to a seated position. Take the right arm down across the body, hug it in with your left arm, and maybe twist just slightly towards the left. So you're getting the same stretch, just without that weight of the body, a little less intense. If you are down to the mat and you're feeling good, maybe you straighten the left knee back, straighten that left leg, tap those left toes down to the left corner of your mat. That might allow you to roll just a little bit more towards the back of the right shoulder, a little bit more to the back of the head. Rotate your chin up towards the sky or ceiling. If that causes you to roll out, that is okay. That sometimes happens. Just come right back into position. Maybe one more full breath here. And then with an inhale, we'll take our time and unwind back to tabletop. Feel free to shift it around, maybe do a few cat-cow poses. When you're ready, we'll switch sides. So inhale, sweep, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, weaving it down, release that left shoulder down to the center of the mat, left side of the head down. Again, for modification, you'll just come out to seated. Left arm across the body, kind of down and across. Right arm can hug it in and slightly twist towards the right. If you're feeling good with the knees down, you can stay there, or you can straighten the right leg back, tap those toes down. That is if you are not taking the modification. Maybe roll just a little bit more to the back of that left shoulder, just a little bit more to the back of the head. A few deep breaths here. This should really be felt through that upper left side of the back, maybe through the shoulder blade, maybe where the shoulder blade connects to the muscles around the spine. Maybe one more full breath here. And then slowly unwind, make your way back to that tabletop. Again, feel free to cat-cows, just wiggle the spine around, whatever feels good, kind of unwind that tension. And then we're going to release back to one more child's pose. So sink those hips back, again, forehead to the mat or maybe to stacked fists. Just 2 full breaths here. And then we will slowly start to walk our hands back, coming up to a seated position. Once you're seated, I'm actually going to go ahead and have you flip all the way down onto your back. Once you come onto your back, feel free to hug the knees into your chest, maybe to rock that side to side a few times. See if there's any tension happening here. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and release the feet down to the mat right behind the hips. We're going to come into a brief bridge pose. So palms are going to come down alongside the hips. And then as you inhale, I want you to first start with that tuck of the tailbone. So first you feel your low back actually get closer to the mat or press into the mat. And then press into the feet, lift those hips up, rolling your lower spine, mid-spine, until just the very upper part of your spine and your head are pressing into the mat. So we're on the feet, the backs of the arms, palms pressing into the mat. We're going to pause and hold it here. If this bothers your knees for any reason, just lower it back down. You may just need to reposition the legs or straighten the legs out and rebend them. Deep breaths here. You may really feel your belly expanding up on those inhales. Exhale, softening back towards your spine. Let's find one more deep breath in. Really press into those feet. Send the hips, the frontal hip points as high up as they'll possibly go. Exhale, slowly lower it all the way back down and hug those knees once again into your chest. From there, maybe you want to rock it side to side a few times. And then from here, we're going to release the feet back down to the mat, keeping knees bent. We're going to separate the feet out to the edges of the mat, so wider than the hips. And we're going to bring the palms down out a few inches from alongside the hips. From here, we're just going to windshield wiper the legs. So we're going to rock both knees over to the right side, however far over feels good. Back up and over to the left side. Back up. And we'll continue to do this a few times. So just continuing to rock the weight of your legs a little to each side. Notice where you feel the sensations, where it may be tight, maybe where it just feels good. Maybe your obliques are a little bit sore or tight. Maybe that feels good. One more time to each direction. And then we'll bring those knees back up. We're going to go into butterfly pose from here. So now bring the feet all the way into touch. Let the knees open wide and slide those soles of the feet into touch. From here, hands, arms, rest wherever is most comfortable. So that might be resting on your hip points, on your abdomen, relaxing above your head, or maybe just out alongside the torso, alongside those hips. From here, I want you to become aware of your breath. So feel those inhales expand through your belly and rise up into your chest. Exhales, feel how the torso just melts back and down towards your spine. We'll be here for a few more moments, a few more breaths, but if it's too much for your hips or you're feeling it in your low back, you can always bring those knees back up early and hug the knees into the chest. If you're feeling good here, work on letting gravity do that work. We're not squeezing the outer edge of the legs towards the earth. We are just letting the legs get heavy. Opening up those inner thighs, those hips. And then very slowly, we'll start to bring those knees back up towards each other. Feel free to hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rock that side to side a few times. And then we will come down for final relaxation. So if your back feels great, extend the legs all the way out, heels to the corners of the mat. Feet drop open wide. Feel free to cover up or put on socks as your body cools down here. Or if your low back is not feeling good with this, you can bring a rolled blanket or pillows behind the backs of the knees. Slight bend in the knees, or if you don't have those, go ahead and bend into those knees, feet wide. And instead of like we did with windshield wiper legs, knees will then rest in against one another. Otherwise, let the hands, the arms go ahead and come down alongside the hips. If you have an eye pillow, you can place that over your eyes here. And we'll just do a brief walkthrough of our body, asking each and every part to relax and let go. I relax my feet and ankles. My feet and ankles are completely relaxed. I relax my shins, calves, and knees. My shins, calves, and knees are completely relaxed. I relax through my thighs and hamstrings. My thighs and hamstrings are completely relaxed. I relax my hips and pelvis. My hips and pelvis are completely relaxed. I relax through my hands and wrists. My hands and wrists are completely relaxed. I relax my forearms, elbows, and upper arms. My forearms, elbows, and upper arms are completely relaxed. I relax my upper back, middle back, and lower back. My upper, middle, and lower back are completely relaxed. I relax through my abdomen and ribs. My abdomen and ribs are completely relaxed. I relax through my chest and shoulders. My chest and shoulders are completely relaxed. I relax my neck, face, and jaw. My neck, face, and jaw are completely relaxed. I allow my entire body to fully relax. My entire body is fully and completely relaxed. Slowly start to bring your awareness back into your body. First by noticing, becoming aware of that sensation of breath that travels in and just releases back out. And then let your awareness come to the center of your palms or the space between your fingers. Notice any sensations or vibrations happening there. Then let little subtle movements begin. Maybe it starts with a wiggle of your fingers or your toes. Letting those movements grow, ripple outward like a drop of water in a pond. Maybe that eventually becomes a full body pencil stretch, or maybe that is a hug of the knees into your chest that the body longs for. Take your time from here. Eventually, when that feels complete, you can rock yourself over to your right side, pausing and resting there for a few moments, a few breaths. If you have an eye pillow and it's dropping aside, eyes can still just be relaxed and closed. Take as long as you need on your side, but eventually when that feels complete, you can start to bring yourself up to whatever seated position feels most comfortable to you at this moment. Once you find that position, let your hands find a place to rest, whether that's down in the lap or resting on the edge of the knees or on top of the thighs. And take a moment again to check in, see how you're feeling at this moment. To seal our practice together, we'll connect those palms together at the center of the chest. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is always my honor to teach you. Namaste.